welcome to Sleeping Cerberus ASMR, and today we're going to take a look at Nintendo Power Magazine. This is the May 1999 edition that features Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And E3 Buzz, 24 pages that are extra in this edition. And Pokémon Snap. So let's get right into this one. This issue also has a feature on Superman for the N64, so that'll be fun taking a look at that. So here we have the player's pulse. That of course features all of the great artwork from fans. There's a few people asking about a new Nintendo system. And they are pretty coy here, saying that the N64 has only been out for a few years, but the GameCube was certainly already in development. That is a really cool picture. You have Nidoqueen and Butterfree. That's pretty cool. The power charts. Of course, Ocarina of Time is still number 1, and Pokemon is number 1 for the Game Boy. It's pretty crazy that Link's Awakening and Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins. I mean, 77 months for golden coins. That's crazy. So here is the featured article on the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I know a lot of people really enjoyed this game. I think that would be a fun thing to have remade on new systems. Planetary Gallery and the pit droids. Those look pretty cool. Sunken City, Howler, Gorge, Duck Derby. Some of the upgrades that you can do to your vehicle. Excited yet? The Force will be with you soon. Alright, here is the Pokémon Snap article. I loved this game on the N64. If you're not familiar, you play as a photographer and you're in a vehicle that is on rails, so you have a set path, and the game is not super long, but there's a lot of replayability and different interactions you could do with the Pokemon depending on what you were doing. And you could also replay the levels to get better scores and better pictures. It was really cool to see all of the Pokemon in a natural environment. Like if you get a picture of Electrode exploding, that would be worth more points. And your vehicle could take different forms, so here it's on the water. And there was basically different environments that you could go to on this island. So you had the beach, and inside the caves, and then around the volcano where all the fire Pokemon were. And then at the end there was one in space where you were trying to take a picture of Mew. That was a really cool level. Okay, so for a change of pace from a well-received game, here is Superman for the N64. That is well known as being one of the worst games of the N64 and sometimes even of all time. And one of the first levels had you flying through these rings, and I think a lot of people never even got past the first basically tutorial level because of how janky it was to fly around and the time constraints. think Superman is one of those games that's kind of tricky, even if you knew what you were doing to make a good game, because he's so strong that you'd have to figure out a way to make it interesting. So, this game had a lot more issues than just that. Here we have the classified information section, and they have a level select and alternate intro scenes codes that they list here for Space Station Silicon Valley, which I will keep saying is a game that I would love to see get remade or at least remastered and have other people get to experience this game. It was so much fun. I don't think it gets enough love. We have some good codes for battle tanks, unlimited lives, ammo, weapons, fishing on the go in Ocarina of Time. And then here we have the guide to E3 that they advertised on the front of this issue. So let's see what was going on in 1999. So basically they list a hit list by company of interesting titles that will be shown on the E3 floor. And a very interesting one to me is they talk about Eternal Darkness in the same vein as Resident Evil. Nintendo and Silicon Knights are working on Eternal Darkness, a horror-filled cinematic action game that takes players back in time to foil the plots of evil beings. Although Eternal Darkness will remain in the shadows until early 2000, the stunning graphics already show the game developers have seen the light. So, as you may or may not know, Eternal Darkness ended up coming out for the GameCube instead of the N64. And that's a game that I know a lot of people are also clamoring for to get some type of sequel or remake. It had a very interesting sanity mechanic where during certain parts of the game, if you had your sanity meter, or I guess insanity meter, go too high, really weird things would happen. Some of it breaking the fourth wall. I don't want to give away too much, but there was some funny things that it would basically look like it was affecting your television. It was really cool and an interesting idea that would be worth revisiting. So from Rare, they're talking about Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong 64, and Jet Force Gemini. And then Capcom, the big feature was on Resident Evil 2. I never played this version on the N64, but I have played the remake that was released a few years ago, and that's really, really good game. It'd be cool if more old games got that kind of loving remake. Electronic Arts. EA Sports. That wrestler kind of looks like he's stuck in a T-pose that you would sometimes see in games where the character was glitched. That's probably not what's happening there, but that's what it looks like. Midway, Kemco, Top Gear Rally 2, Acclaim was showing off Shadow Man and Revolt and some other wrestling games. Oh, here's an exciting one. Ubisoft and Rayman 2 has been in the works for more than 2 years, but Ubisoft is closing in on the prize, a big, beautiful action game with lots of variety. I loved Rayman 2. The art style was so colorful and creative. It's a fantastic game. Infogrames and 3DO. Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. THQ. Road Rash for the 64. I feel like I remember playing some version of Road Rash in the arcades back in the day. I remember it being pretty fun. Konami, Hybrid Heaven, and Castlevania 2. Goemon's Great Adventure. Video System, Harrier 2001. Crave, GT Interactive, something to keep you awake. 40 Winks. I'm not familiar with that game. I might have to look that up and see what that was all about. I don't recall that game at all. Rockstar, Monster Truck Madness, and the second big title is Earthworm 3D. Superman was relegated to the overflow section, which was probably for the best. And now we have the Game Boy Color games. Oh, Pokemon Yellow, that was such a good game. And Pokemon Pinball. I did play that game. I was never very good at pinball games, but it was Pokemon, so I loved it. And it was one of the first, if not the first, Game Boy game that had a built-in rumble pack, which was pretty cool. Ghosts and Goblins. Bust-a-Move ad that is quickly followed by what is probably a multi-page ad because it's the top 10 reasons why Bust-a-Move 99 is a must-play. Bust-a-Move 99 is no mere retread. It's a fresh take on a classic concept. With lots of new features and game modes, this pleasing puzzler will have you busting bubbles well into the next millennium. Boardin USA. Does it bother you to have to obey outdated laws like gravity and simple physics? Then it's high time to take up to the air in this new N64 title. That seems like a fun concept. So we have the 1998 Nintendo Power Award winners, and I feel like I will have to use this for the next couple pages based on the winners that I'm seeing. So let's go through this. So the best story was given to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, with Pokemon being a runner-up. I love Pokemon, but I don't know if I would say this story is amazing. And then best graphics, the winner, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Number 3 was Dark 2 Seeds of Evil, which definitely was a pretty graphically impressive game at the time. Best music, Zelda. And best sound, shockingly, was The Legend of Zelda. Star Wars Rogue Squadron was second place in both best sound and best music. And then we have most innovative. Ocarina of Time wins again. And Game Boy Camera gets the third place here. I'd definitely say that's a pretty good innovation. Best gameplay variety, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I'm noticing a trend here. And best multiplayer game, a wrestling game. F-Zero X only managed third place. It seems a little underrated. Okay, here we go. Sleeper hit of the year. Space Station Silicon Valley. While Zelda eclipsed most everything last year, 1998 still shone bright with many stars. One of the brightest was DMA Designs, the developer behind Silicon Valley, and the first runner-up Body Harvest. Finally, Silicon Valley getting a little acknowledgement for being amazing. And third place, one of my other favorites, Snowboard Kids. It's unfortunate that some of my favorite games are considered sleeper hits, because that generally means that not very many people played them. And now we have Best Racing Game, which F-Zero X does indeed win. Best Action Game was given to Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Best Sports Game, NFL Blitz. And here we have a return. Best Cinema Scenes, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. With Star Wars and Dark 2 being the runner-ups. Best Adventure Game, Legend of Zelda best accessory / development, the N64 expansion pack. I don't know about this one. I feel like the Game Boy Color should definitely have been first. I don't even really think enough games utilized this. Although it was interesting, sure. The funniest game was given to South Park. And the best N64 game, drumroll please, was given to The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The best Game Boy game, Pokémon, which I definitely agree with that one. And Link's Awakening DX got second place. Best release, number 1 was Ocarina of Time, and number 2 was Pokémon. 3, Banjo-Kazooie. 4, Star Wars Rogue Squadron. And number 5, Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. Here we have the Pokécenter. All Pokemon, all the time. And the first is a little feature on Pokemon Pinball. Gengar seems pretty happy about guest starring in the latest Pokemon game. Still, we wouldn't recommend letting your ball anywhere near his mouth. Okay. There's a question about why does my Pokemon game have only one save? Which was definitely one of my things that I was wondering about back then. It would have been really cool to have multiple saves, especially if you could trade between them, but then they wouldn't have sold as many Pokemon games, so it might have been the technical limitations, but also I'm sure they wanted to make sure everyone bought multiple Pokemon games of both versions. So the Counselor's Corner, Mario Party. How do I access the Magma Mountain playing board? You must have played on each of the 6 original boards and gotten around 60 stars to earn the right to explore Bowser's fiery domain. Star Wars. How do I get the best ending? Beat the game on any difficulty except easy, and complete the Skyhook mission without running into anything. So here we have a feature on Conker's Pocket Tales for the Game Boy. And I actually bought this game just only playing Pokemon and was kind of desperate for something else to play. And this seemed like an interesting little adventure game. I don't remember getting very far in this game. Let me know if you ever played this or some of the lesser known Game Boy games. I don't think I had this particular magazine right away. Maybe it would have helped me figure out where to go. And then we have Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, which is a remastered version of the original with a bunch of added features. That was a really fun way to relive the original Super Mario Brothers game for the NES. By land, by sea, underground, and the castle. The new Game Boy Color colors. Did you have any of these colors? I had the best color, obviously, was the atomic purple. Wario knows what's up. Rugrats movie, Caesar's Palace 2. Oh, that chess master kind of looks like Gandalf to me. Okay, we have the now playing section that has the reviews. They gave Super Smash Bros. A 7.7, which to me I think is just criminally low. It may not hold up amazing nowadays, but back then, definitely more than a 7.7. I don't think you should rate it lower than All-Star Baseball 2000. Kind of surprising that it's so low. Bust a Move 99 gets a 7.6. Shadowgate 7.5. Boardin USA gets a 6.9. Another 6.9 for All-Star Tennis 99. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe gets an 8.3. Chess Master 6.6. Spy vs. Spy 6.4. Here's another page talking about Eternal Darkness. Backworks behind the scenes at GDC. There was an interview with Miyamoto, and one of the quotes is, "Technology can inspire new ideas and help us realize those ideas, but it should do so from the background." That's really interesting to me because I feel like that's still the philosophy decades later, where just pure graphical power is not the priority. Quadruple collectability. So there were 4 different covers released for this issue, and I have the most common and least rare issue, so that's a bummer. So I had a 40% chance of getting the most common one that I got, and then you have a 10% for this rare one, and then each of these have a 25% chance. So that wraps up another Nintendo Power video. This one was extra long because of the E3 Buzz section. So thank you so much if you got all the way to the end. So until the next one,